Okay, I'm going to try to quickly walk you through the process of painting texture maps for a head using the built-in painting tools that are available in Blender. One caveat is that there will be a lot of lag because Blender is not an optimized program as far as texture painting goes, but it does work. So we'll start off by creating an image. We hit Shift-A. Now we're going to go Image Texture, New, and I'm going to make this 4096 by 4096. And I'm going to call this Diffuse. Then click on OK. Now, as you can see, we already have a normal map applied on this model. So I'll just show you what that looks like quickly. This is a low resolution model, but it's got some nice high resolution details there, as you can see. We'll go back into unshaded mode here. Now we're going to select this diffuse map. You have to make sure that it's clicked on here. And we're going to go into texture paint. Wand. We're going to fill. Pick our color here in the toolbar. Here we want to pick a color that is kind of a middle gray. So that's a good starting point. Now we're going to pick a dark red and we're going to go over to the brush. Now there's going to be a lot of lag while I'm painting, so I'll fast forward through the parts where that happens. So you start with the red and you just kind of cover the whole surface a little bit here and there. And you want to try to add enough red without adding too much red. In fact, we're going to bring the strength down a little bit. And you just want to get decent surface coverage. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I could put Mirror X on, but I have found that turning that on actually causes more lag throughout the painting process. So sometimes for this first part, it's easier just to go through and paint both sides by hand. We have sort of a semi-decent start there. Next up, we're going to paint sort of a orangey yellow. And this is where the sun would normally hit and create sort of a bit of a tan. And next we're going to use blue. And now we're actually going to turn symmetry on, because that does make our life a little bit easier here. So let me go into my tool options here. Symmetry, Mirror X. This is for bone prominences. So like the jawline, cheekbones, nasal structure, the forehead area above the eyebrow. And you just want to add some blue details. Back of the skull. A little bit around the ears for the cartilage. Then the collarbone. And a little bit there on the chest. Okay. We're going to keep symmetry on. And then we're going to do sort of the pinky coloring her. And we're just going to do a wash over the whole figure. And next up, we're going to take a little bit of a darker red. We're going to hit F to make our brush smaller. And we're going to start doing some detail. Like, shit, I like that last one. Me, I'll do that. I'll make the brush a little bit larger here. And I'm going to bring down the strength quite a bit. And I'm just going to do washings of where there be a little bit of blood flow, and a little bit of blush happening. Especially around the ears and the cheeks, forehead, neck area. A little bit on the back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head. You know, it's gonna look a little bit choppy right now, but this is just kind of a best start. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the soften brush and we're gonna go in and we're just gonna soften up some of the areas where there's hard lines. Now this brush does cause a lot of lag. So when you do a pretty decent area, you're going to have to sit and kind of wait for it to process. But it's nice for getting rid of these hard lines here. So we're going to kind of leave that there. And we're going to start working on the roughness map now. So we'll plug in the diffuse map into the base color. And then we'll Shift A, image, texture. Then we're going to create another one at the same resolution, 496 by 4096. And I'm going to call this one roughness. Make sure it's clicked on in the shader here. And go into texture paint again. Then for this one, we're going to use the fill tool again. And we're going to fill to a value of somewhere in no gray. So we can just manually set these values here. And we'll make it a little bit lighter than that. Somewhere, actually somewhere more towards more of a white. Now we're going to get a dark gray brush. And we're going to get rid of any saturation and any hue. So all we have is grayscale. And we'll make our brush a little bit smaller. We're going to paint in the areas that will be a little bit shinier around the eyelids, you know, the ears and the nose and the mouth. I'm going to make the a little bit that. You just want to go through and carefully sort of add those details. Now we're going to add it around the nose, a little bit under the eyes, cheeks, the chin, a little bit on the jawline, definitely around the ears. Those get a little waxy. Then we're going to zoom out and just sort of do a wash over certain areas to add some variation. And the forehead tends to be a little bit oily too. Though we're going to apply that. It has our roughness snap. And let's just see how that's looking with everything applied. There. Sort of basic. It definitely used some smoothing out and some refinement. But you can see how you can get the process going pretty quickly. If we turn off scene lights and we just use sort of the default render boxes here, you get a general sense of it here. Let's pick a different one. So you can kind of see that we're getting some decent skin tone here. And that's kind of a basic way to get started. And you can export these maps and work with them in a more advanced program like Substance Paint or Other Paint. But this can be a nice way to get a basic look going and getting a feel for it. Anyway, I hope that was helpful.